What up? We back. Been a bit.
Welcome back to another episode, guys. This is another episode of Homie Hangout, where today we will be defending Sword Art Online. We think a lot of people are a little bit too harsh on this anime. It's one of my favorite animes of all time. I have it tattooed on my chest, for God's sake. We're pretty emotional and opinionated about this show. So, Trey. Oh, yeah, I got mine, too.
Only mildly.
Yeah.
As I eat. I also got the dark repulsor, though. Like,
Yeah, true. And I guess
I'm real
we'll
with it.
Yeah.
I'm real with it. Not that real with it, but I'm real with it. No, I just feel like with SAO specifically, in the anime community, or if you spend time online, just like in those forums, you get a lot of people kind of just like hating on it, but not really any people explaining why. And so I just kind of got fed up with it and decided to look up why people hate it so much. And so I do have a screen pulled up, which I can share in a little bit, talking about like with like various people. It was on Quora or something. Various people having a list of why SAO sucks. And so I just kind of like want to go through some of those and like talk about those points. And like if you go online, and there's a channel I really like called Into the Robot, and the entire channel's is about explaining anime. And they have some really good stuff on there, but they also will have like points where SAO crops up in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Like they'll be bashing on it, or the thing we don't want to like talk about, and like pops up and stuff. So as I was looking it up, one of the things I found actually was talking about how SAO is one of the most popular anime in Japan and China.
Really?
Yeah. And it's not big in the US. And or like it's big in the US, but the reason it gets so much hate in the US is because there was like a handful of YouTubers or something started hating on it and created a bunch of hate for it. And so once people got into it, there's a bunch of hate. Like they went in already with like a negative outlook on it.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I know a lot of my friends. There's like that. I think it's season 2 where like there's like the weird aliens, and they like pick like her up with like the tentacles and stuff, and like that's literally the only weird portion out of any season of SAO ever, and it's literally like a scene, and it's not even uncharacteristic for weird bad guys to be doing something weird like that, you know. And people try to use that like, oh, it's just not a fan service anime where they're showing off like a girl with tentacles. I'm like, no, not really. That's not even close, but it's dumb to even.
That's Food Wars, which is still a fantastic show.
Right. And it's just like from the characters to the artwork to the story, there's really something here for just about any anime fan to enjoy and love. And it's like, why hate on something so much for like one scene? Like, that's just, it doesn't make any sense. I think it's great. For the very first episode, I was gripped. And before this anime, to my knowledge, only Excel World had really like delved into like really like video game kind of genre animes, and then after this, they like inspired Log Horizon, and then inspired like a few other ones. But like Sword Art was really like one of the first ones to kind of like develop this we're trapped inside of a video game kind of idea, and it was great. Like it had high stakes, like you were scared for each character, like why?
So yeah, like Sword Art definitely redefined the isekai genre, which is like where someone from our world gets placed into another world, be it video game or some other fantasy land. And I don't know if it was necessarily the first one. I know Digimon technically delves into that. They end up in a game.
Do you have my parents in the background?
Yeah, no.
Okay, cool. Continue.
Maybe I just or I don't know, but not really. So yeah, like it's this weird genre thing. But okay, no, I kind of can. At points.
It's hot. It's not quieter. Jesus, you're thinking he's self-explanatory. Sorry.
Yeah. Headphones. But yeah, no, so they talk about how they go into like see, at Digimon, like it's a similar concept, but not entirely.
Right.
And I don't think they're necessarily scared for their lives. It's just been a while. Also, Digimon, technically an anime, but very much geared towards kids. But
Also,
because we only have a set amount of time before like this kicks us out, I'm gonna share my
oh,
screen right now. Just because I don't have like the upgraded membership or version, so we have 40 minutes before it like says we're done.
oh, that's good to know. That's actually really good to know. I did not know that.
So
Solid.
okay, so Quora, it's a forum. Why do people hate Sword Art Online? And I think it was actually why do people think Sword Art Online is so bad, even though it is one of the best anime that exists? That was the one that talked about how it's actually one of the most popular anime in China and Japan.
Interesting. Heck yeah.
But so many people hate SAO for a variety of reasons. The main character, the main protagonist, Kirito, is an extremely bland character. He essentially has a near perfect life. Any challenges are easily overcome. So Kirito in his early life was his parents died when he was a kid, and he was adopted by his aunt, and his cousin was raised as a sister. Like that's not. Also, he was a disappointment to his grandfather.
Gotcha.
I don't know if you remember, but I want to say the samurai sword style. He and Sugua would train in that, and he
Right.
wanted to quit, and his grandpa wouldn't let them.
Right. Yeah.
And so he's not. That doesn't sound perfect.
Right. And
Plus,
he's kind of the shut-in who plays video games, which in like Japanese, like like traditions and stuff like that, very like typically they want you to go to school, go to college, go to get a 9 to 5 job, and find like your wife all for like I don't know your 30s or something like that. But at least that's kind of like the vibes they throw off too, like with the uncle being disappointed. Oh, you must do this like traditional style. I
it's not
think yeah.
that there's any, and it's not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's just that like
No,
there's definitely a reason why. It's to say he has a perfect life is a little.
yeah, it's part of his character. It's part of what makes him him. It shows why he's why he's the best gamer in Japan, or like why he is the person who is winning all of these VR games and saving people, and is the main protagonist.
Yeah, like so. Also, any challenges are easily overcome. That defines Sasuke from Naruto.
True.
Like,
Very
who
true.
is easily one of the most beloved characters in the Naruto series, to the point where canonically Naruto is stronger than Sasuke. But if you watch any video in which they compare Naruto and Sasuke's power levels, they always put them equal.
Right. Yeah,
That's how much of a fan base Sasuke has. Like,
I mean, he's one of my favorite characters, and there is like that thing where, at least I didn't get too far in. I've watched a lot of it, but in the video games, there's that thing where like how Naruto has like the 9 tails, and then there's like this like samurai like demon thing that Sasuke like can get to. It like kind of push him up. Yeah, I don't know exactly what it is, but they always gotta do something to keep them kind of equals.
well, also at the same time, so if you watch it, so I've seen maybe 90% of Naruto Shippuden. I'm watching Boruto somewhat. Um, so there's the Sage of Six Paths. He's like the first ninja, kind of. He's the
Right.
father of ninjutsu. His two sons are some of the strongest people in history. And Naruto and Sasuke are their reincarnations.
Uh-huh. I did not
So
know that.
that's part of it. Also, like a lot of other stuff happens to be going down, which is why their levels get boosted. But yeah, no, Sasuke is also kind of bland personally. Like
Yeah.
he's this dark, aloof character, which is Kirito, who challenges are easily overcome. Like
I feel like almost Klein is almost like the Naruto and Kirito is Sasuke, except we're now focusing on the Sasuke and not the Naruto.
Yeah, like Kirito has, and then Kirito has no negative attributes. I can't really think of an argument to that one. Like that one's kind of fair.
Right.
Sasuke, like with extended use of the Sharingan, it kind of weakens him to a degree. And there's a few other things with the Sharingan that like it does have its drawbacks, but yeah, like challenge is easy to overcome. That describes Sasuke. Supporting characters, there are no points to any of these characters. You can remove most of them from the story and it would probably not change significantly. That's like any supporting character. You can go back. I'm gonna go back to Naruto a lot because I've seen a lot of it and it's super popular.
Yeah, for sure.
You can remove most of the other teams and the story doesn't change.
Absolutely. But they're there to fill in little spots and to show like little subtle moments of character growth for the main characters. They're stepping stone and they're there to show you that they're humanized and they give you a reason even further to care about the main character. That's why they are a supporting cast, which is like any supporting cast ever, whether it's movies, TV shows, anime. It's just kind of how you write a story, which is a downgrade.
Yeah, like they don't change significantly because they're not super important. Further characters such as Yui is a walking Deus Ex Machina. They use her once. And so like I'll give you that once. She doesn't do it a bunch, and then they essentially kill her for the remainder of the arc.
Exactly. And then even later on, she's not even broken or anything like that. She's literally just another supporting cast member. And a very, I wouldn't say insignificant because she does play kind of a big role for the two of them, a weird role in my opinion. But it's one of the quirks of SAO, you know?
Yeah, she is this, the role she plays is like she's a individual who exists in the Alpine world. You can get the sprite, and that's how she's registered. She's just like an upgraded hacked sprite.
Exactly. She's basically a Cortana, but less useful.
Yeah, I'm reading a book right now actually called Warcross. And in it, VR kind of exists, kind of to the degree the Sword Art Online Organization Scale movie.
Ordinal Scale.
Ordinal Scale, that's what it is. I was combining Alicization, which is the newest season. They kind of exist in the same way. VR exists in the same way as it does in Ordinal Scale. And the main character acts that as well. Like, and so she gives herself some upgrades, or she's able to do things in a weird way because she's hacked it. So, and then these characters have no personality, no defining traits. No, like
not really.
They're there, they exist, they have their traits, but I get why you say that they don't, but at the same time, they do. We just don't see a lot of it.
Exactly. Each person is literally like a characterization of something important for like Kirito. Like you got like Liz, who is literally the person who makes the swords. So she is a key role in the story, but like she doesn't just bleed into the background with every other side character. You know? She's very.
Most of the side characters actually introduced visually, at least in the first episode.
True. Also true. And that moment where they're all in the little square, where they're all summoned.
Yep. And if we're being honest, like most anime characters have one defining trait, which is their entire personality.
Very true.
And like, so just because you don't like something doesn't mean you can like hold it up to that. That unmemorable FPS game from SAO is ridiculous. Talking about Gun Gale Online. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't a huge fan of GGO, and then I watched the spin-off series. Wasn't too big on that. I thought some interesting things could have happened, but I just wasn't feeling it.
I watched 5 episodes of the spin-off Gun Gale. Was meh, but I do actually like the regular Gun Gale. I like the main stories I don't like the side things. Like I haven't really bothered with Alicization at all, but I love SAO 1 and I love SAO 2, and everything that comes with that. And the movie Ordinal Scale honestly was a great continuation. Honestly, one of the best anime movies I've personally seen. But yeah,
I
no, I
do want
actually
to
did like
I do want to say Alicization is actually a continuation of the story. It followed Kirito.
really
Yeah.
interesting. Okay,
Um, but yeah, no, for Gun Gale, you couldn't customize the most basic details of your character. They have a typo. The character models are given to you by default. You cannot change them. That is stupid, but that was like solely for the point of him looking like a girl.
right. Which I didn't understand at first, but it doesn't really take away or add to the story. It's just a decision they made, and like honestly, like girl avatars are really popular even in Japan and stuff like that, and it's not unheard of. So to make something like that like a rare quote unquote like character, it's more like a gaming kind of thing, like a skin almost, and just happens to be a girl, you know.
And I think it's because he switched from Alpine. So he switched from a fairy game, so they gave him a
Right.
fair character. The shooting accuracy depending on your heart rate and how calm you are. That's how a gun works.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. And like it makes complete logical sense if you think about it.
Like that's not how a gun works in a typical video game. But when you, I mean, it is because like Mass Effect, the first Mass Effect was terrible at it. If you like
Right.
pull up a sniper, that's all happening.
Or how like in Modern Warfare 3, you have to push in on R3 to steady your heart rate, to steady your aim, and it only lasts for a couple seconds before you start like wiggling again. Like, yeah, that's a mechanic used in other video games. So what do they do in a TV show about video games? Oh, yeah, funny.
And on top of that, like the heart rate isn't even in like with actual snipers, they train them to shoot between their heartbeat. Like some of them get trained to shoot in the spaces between their heartbeats because it's a steadier shot.
Right.
And so like the shooting accuracy depends on your heart rate and how calm you are. That's how that works. And in a
Exactly.
game where you can immerse a character into the game, you want to make it like as interactive and believable as possible.
Right.
In an MMO game, there was no magic. They comment on that. They say that it was weird. I believe it's a plot point because magic typically means like healing.
Right.
Basic magic spells healing. And so if
Yeah.
everyone can just be healed, but the stakes kind of disappear to a degree. And
Right.
so
They wanted higher stakes so that way. If you die in the game, you die in real life. They're not going to give you a healing spell so you can heal yourself and then not take damage. It makes total sense. And then in the next season, they went to Alfenheim, which is literally an entire elf universe with magic. So it's like, oh, you made it great. Oh, well, there's lots of video games in our universe. We can do whatever we want. Like, it'd be cool to see like an Assassin's Creed style like game for them to go into.
so much fun.
I don't know. You do.
So yeah, and then Kirito is able to beat paralysis due to his determination. He's the main character. Like, yeah, I get how that's stupid, but
Right.
protagonist powers.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like it's the first time you've seen that in an anime. There's so many times where anime characters have like died and come back to life, or have come to near death experiences where they definitely should have died. Like,
What was it? My Hero Academia in the sports festival arc. Deku's about to walk out of the arena because he's being mind controlled. So he's about to lose.
right.
And one of his past lives, the past users of One for All, triggers his finger breaking it, and that snaps him back into the game. Like
It's
something
ridiculous.
like that. Yeah.
But it's great. It's anime. Like, you didn't come here for like 100% realism. You're watching anime.
You're watching it for an escape. Like, and then are
Exactly.
you sure Kirito and Austin were the only people who were happy in SAO when you refound them? Like a lot of time had passed, and I'm sure some people simply got used to life and adapted to living inside a video game. That doesn't mean they're happy. That's 2 years, but doesn't necessarily mean that someone's like overjoyed and happy. It's
Right.
2 years have passed. We're getting by. you get like the people who are content like in a little fishing village, but they're not like Kirito and Asuna found love. Like that's a different kind of joy. It's like
Right.
they were truly joyful after 2 years, whereas you have other people who I think were just content.
Right, and that also goes back to the whole like there was the person who said, "Oh, another not memorable anime about being trapped in a video game." This was basically the first anime ever which inspired everything to come after it, and has some of the most memorable characters and storylines out of any of the other animes. People will try to say like, "Oh, well, Log Horizon is so much better." Okay, Log Horizon was literally based off of SAO's entire plot, and they can respawn, so they don't even die. So there's no high stakes of like real life and death the way that SAO has. It's like an incredibly intense emotion to drag out of thousands of characters inside of an anime, including the main characters who could have easily just been like, "Oh, I'm not going to play the game." But not only were they protecting everybody, they were trying to beat the game. They fall in love. You see the entire progression of their relationship from like two strangers to like almost like not necessarily hating each other, but having like a rivalry to like becoming friends to falling in love and having this great love story, even for the rest of the entire franchise. If you're gonna tell me that's not memorable or something to set you aside from another anime, like BS.
Right? And this goes into the next one. Well, no, it doesn't. There's a lack of ranged weapons. I don't even play as a ranged character when I play video games typically.
Right.
So I'm not even gonna like fault them for that. Plus, that kind of removes them
EGO.
from the removes them from the danger. Like, yeah, you end up with a bow in Alfheim after the GGO arc. You have GGO, but those are like different games.
Exactly.
At which point the stakes aren't there either.
And games where it makes a little more sense. I'm sure if you wanted to grab a crossbow in SAO 9 crowd, you probably could. I mean, I feel like I've seen that from like different characters and parties, like in Client's Party, or with I'm gonna say Gagio, but that's from Fairy Tale. What's the blacksmith's name again? I forget.
Aegil? Oh no,
Aegil,
no, the blacksmith is Liz. Aegil's just the
or the weapons dealer, whatever, the shop owner.
he's the shop owner.
Yeah, whatever.
Uh,
Agio.
yeah.
Like you see like people in their parties who use bow and arrows. Are the main characters going to? No, it's more like a style of like The Witcher or like or like a Lord of the Rings style game. Like you're gonna focus more on sword users and like you're gonna have like one ranged person or like two, something like that, like in the background.
Which, like, even if we want to go into historical accuracy, the primary weapon was a spear. The sword was the secondary weapon. Like, but that's not how we play games.
Right, and they were so concerned about it. Like the main character of the next story arc is literally a sniper. So like that's and then you have like bows and arrows plus like magic, like you said, in Alfenheim. So
and like you could totally just like load your inventory up with spears,
right,
and go do that. Like, and then Kirito was able to play all by himself without facing any trouble, whereas dozens of others need to be in the group to survive. So Kirito had like the classic samurai training. He was the beater, which is stupid, a stupid name. But he was a beta tester who figured out how the game worked and how to like level. So he was able to level really quickly, whereas everyone else wasn't able to level so well.
right.
Plus, he was literally the only person in the game, I think, or at least on the front lines, to stop and smell the roses. There's that. It's the player killer arc where they introduced the Laughing Coffin Guild.
Right.
And this old guild is like haunting an older member of their guild. They're no longer a guild, but like they're haunting like an old member who killed his wife.
Right.
But like Kirito's like the weather optimization is perfect today. Why would I waste it by going into a dungeon?
Yes, exactly. You never see those calm moments in other animes. It's so refreshing.
So there's that, but like he's also the only one who like actually appreciated the game, which and like took time to like acknowledge other things. So,
right. Absolutely.
Um,
As one of those little details like that is what make me like fall. Was what made me fall in love with SAO in the first place, and why I have it tattooed. It's just a gorgeous, real. Not gonna say realism, but like humanizing, like anime. You know,
yeah.
I wrote a little list of everything that I loved about it, and from things like the art style, music, the story, the plot, like everything about it is just beautiful to look at. Like in that first episode where he's teaching Klein how to fight, and it's like a pan of like the universe and like the world, and like the animation is just beautiful. Or like the Christmas episode where she's like singing the little lullaby and a little crystal with like tears dropping and like the snow in the background and like the really like melodic piano music. Like
Right after we just had like a horrifying Santa.
exactly,
Like,
exactly. Which is something you
um,
would totally see in a video game. Like I don't know if you've ever played Black Desert Online, but it's like my version to me of playing like SAO, except with a lot of magic. But it's like it's definitely got that fantasy MMO RPG like style. And like whenever there's like a Christmas moment, like you'll be like killing people and or like goblins, but you hear just like jingle bells. Like it's those little things that I feel like they took inspiration from, and you can really
yeah.
see this was like created by people that love video games, and that's why I love SAO.
Death Gun. He was mad that his character was underpowered, but when I watched his character, this is the person writing, it was overpowered. Death Gun was mad because the top player in Gun Gale had said that this was the way to go while he was going a different way.
Right.
And so like he used insider information to give himself a boost. But it's if you watch Bofuri, which is a great anime personally, it's another video game one. Uh the character puts all of her stats into her health.
Right.
So in every other aspect, she's super weak. She can't even like walk fast. But her health is so high that she's able, after playing the game, to like break certain things. So I think Death Gun is both upset about the injustice and wanting to keep up the rush that he got from killing people as a member of Laughing Coffin.
Definitely.
But I don't think he thought he was uh underpowered. Like
I feel
I
that.
think he was upset that he was misled.
Right.
Kayaba Akihiko, the creator of the game, got 10,000 players for no reason. No, he had a dream. No, he had a I'm so sorry.
No, that was good. That was good.
he had a no, but he had a dream when he was a kid of a metal castle floating in the sky, and he wanted to create it. He wanted to create this whole world. Ancrad was a dream he had when he was a kid that he wanted to bring to life. The only way to bring something to life like that is in the world of video games. So he
Right.
created a whole platform to experience it, and then wanted people to be part of it. And then like I think maybe went a little bit crazy and want people to like fully experience what it would be like. So he trapped people.
Right. And then he wanted to create a world and like his image and like his choosing. Like it was this guy whose dream gave him a god complex, and then he wanted to play God. And I think that is really great reasonings for a villain. You know, I thought that was out of villains in an anime. Is it like I don't know a Richimaru? No, but like it is still a good villain with he had good ideas, bad intentions, I guess is the way to put it. And it's it's like Thanos or it's like Ultron. It's like you had these people to either have a really messed up ideology or there was something in their lives that led them to turn that way. And I feel like it's a great like story arc and character arc, for lack of
Yeah.
a better word.
And then there is this guy, Nobuyuki Sugo. He's infamous for doing this.
Ah, yes.
The Asuna rape. Um,
Right.
like he. So if you want to talk, I don't think he even talks about his motivation. Yeah, it doesn't talk about his motivation. No, the dude thought he was owed a company. Dude had an ego. He thought he was entitled. he thought he was owed the company. The way he was going to get it was something that I believe actually happens in Japan, where like you're adopted, and that's essentially their way of an arranged marriage of you marrying their daughter, because he's an adult.
Right.
So he's marrying Asuna when she can't consent. And then Kirito manages to break the game and go to an inaccessible level because Asuna tossed the card out. He was able to get it.
Right.
Um,
Also, main character complex again. Like little things like that are gonna happen in order to progress the story.
yeah, like, and so he does. Then, like, this scene happens while he's torturing Kirito and her simultaneously. And
right.
then Kirito overcomes it, of course. But like that's just kind of showing how far he's fallen.
Exactly. And he's just a creep. So like it fits his character and like who he was written to be. It's not like it would be like something weird for him to not do. I mean, there's not a roadmap for villains on how to be a villain in an anime. Like, no, like you're gonna need different things to make it different than Akihiko Kayaba or Death Gun. You know, like you have to do something to make three distinct villains with three different motivations. You know, but you got to tie it all together in one story that's gonna be somewhat linear.
Yeah. Like, and this one talks about, and then this next part talks about how like the show starts off really interesting with like high stakes and then kind of falls off. Right. And like how the protagonists could have died, but then we realize they're not going to die, and so it loses all appeal. If you kill Naruto, the show's over.
Exactly. If you give them the One Piece, your show is over. You must never give them the One Piece. Like, exactly.
Like, if you kill Goku, granted I haven't watched Dragon Ball, and I feel like Goku might have actually died a few times. I'm not positive. But if you kill Goku, what's the show?
Right.
Like,
if you had never given Light Yagami the Death Note, it wouldn't be the same type of show. Granted, you give a Death Note to another character, but it wouldn't be the same. We love that because of the dynamic between Light and Ryuk.
Like, if you kill the main character, the show's over.
Exactly. And this show is loved by millions. There are other people that try to throw out like all these like, oh, it's done for this reason. Oh, it's unforgettable. Nah, those are just haters. Like, there's a gigantic fan base for SAO. So much so that there's 3-4 video games. Like
also, I want to say that I know a lot of people have, like, I was talking with someone I think last year as Alicization was starting up, and it was or I think it was like about halfway through like that first little bit.
Right.
And they were saying how SAO as a whole wasn't a good anime. Alicization actually wasn't bad, which means that they've watched all of SAO and they're still watching Alicization.
Right.
So they're hooked in some way. But also, personally, that first half of Alicization, the pacing was terrible.
Yeah, that's why I fell off.
Do anime, like real anime fans, just like terrible pacing?
I mean, I feel like pacing in a show, regardless, is important if you want to keep people intrigued and watching. Like, I know people, like, for instance, I was watching The Walking Dead for like 4 seasons, and eventually I just got to a point where I was like, this is going nowhere, and it's the exact same thing with like roughly the same plot, just moved in different areas, and I just stopped caring and I stopped watching. Breaking Bad, I got a little over halfway through, which is a great show and has great acting. But the pacing, I was just like, I don't give a shit. I'm not going to watch this anymore. And then I stopped watching. But Game of Thrones, I have seen every single episode multiple times. Same thing with Rick and Morty. Same thing with SAO. I have watched all of SAO at least 5 times.
Right. But Naruto, one of the biggest anime ever, the pacing is so bad. Like I know
Oh,
someone who stopped watching the show and just started reading the manga because time.
right. People still watch it because they're in love with the characters, and that's what
Yeah,
drives SAO as its characters.
like
Which now
SAO
that
just
you
doesn't deserve the hate it gets. That's the point. Like that's why we're
exactly,
making this video. Like it doesn't
exactly,
deserve the hate it gets. It's a great show, person. Like if you don't like it, you don't like it.
right,
Doesn't mean you gotta hate on it.
right.
And
And like sometimes like at least if you're gonna like present logical arguments and you give me like a real reason for not liking something, I can appreciate it. But if you're just gonna like spew a bunch of BS and like not actual factual things, or you only like watch part of it, but you're not gonna like say why you didn't watch it, then most of your statements are just ignorance. Which is why like I may not have watched all The Walking Dead, but I'm not gonna shit talk The Walking Dead. I watched for 4 seasons and I clearly respected it and liked it long enough, and I can see it on a franchise level why it has a spinoff, why there's a whole section of it at Universal Studios, why there's merch everywhere you can go. Like it's successful for a reason, but there's no
yeah,
reason I hate
like sometimes you just grow out of something, and sometimes something isn't your cup of tea, but it doesn't mean it's bad. It's the
on it.
worst to ever exist. I also saw there's like 16 different posts on this website that talk about um, some of them are written by fans of the show
Right.
about why it's not good or like why it some people might not like it, and they talk about how they do. Uh, some people talk about how it's a harem anime. You have a bunch of people like granted, okay, every female character is attracted to Kirito essentially,
Right.
at least for some spell of time.
I can see the
Um,
argument, but it's not written as a harem anime. If you want a harem anime, go watch Rosario plus Vampire. That's a
go
harem.
watch go watch Eri Ferretta from Commonplace to World's Strongest. Like that
Exactly.
is without, well, not necessarily without, like without nudity or sex, like there is a harem aspect to it. Like, and it's a
Right.
hardcore harem aspect. And then you have like actual harem anime. Like
Right.
it's
I feel like they might have seen that and they just wanted to put it in there lightly to give various like anime fans a reason to like it. You know, that's again just to go back to the statement. That's what makes SAO SAO. It's the thing that makes people like it is there's truly something there for most people that are fans of anime.
yeah. And so
But I
yeah.
think we've been on this call for close to 40 minutes. I have no
Yeah, that's
idea.
what I'm thinking about. Like we should
We should cut it
uh
off. Final statements. This is personally one of my favorite animes ever. I tell everybody who is getting into anime or just starting out anime or has been a long time fan, watch SAO. It needs to be on your watch list. It needs to be something you have at least seen once. Make your own decisions. Don't let blind hatred just push you away from anime. That you could
at least
obviously
watch the first arc in Aincrad, and then when they leave Aincrad, like if you're not into Alfheim, you're not into Alfheim. If you're not into Gun Gale, you're not into Gun Gale. If you've watched a decent chunk, you've gotten the gist of the first story.
exactly.
Make
At
your
least the
decision off.
first.
Like, uh,
Go watch it.
it's
It's on
what got
Netflix.
me into anime in modern times. Like, I grew up watching Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon, Beyblade,
Right.
uh,
Lyoko.
which are all like light anime for kids.
Right.
They're not like real, like they're real, but they're not real.
Right.
Uh,
It's like calling Pokemon anime. Like, yeah, it is anime, but it's not anime.
it's like you can
It's not
define it, but nah.
right. Exactly.
um, and so yeah, this is like the first one that got me into it in like modern day.
And it got
Uh,
me. But granted, I grew up reading a lot of like One Piece, and I had seen a lot of Naruto and like stuff like that. But like actually being a fan and watching a bunch of like series, SAO really like threw me into like anime like hard. I mean, literally on my chest for a reason. Like I've
if you're
cried, I laughed, I've got angry. Like good.
if you're starting out, it's a good place to start. Plus, you don't have to invest a month like you do with Naruto, Dragon Ball, One Piece. Um, it's a lot. There's a lot less content there. That
And you can move
doesn't
on to
date.
other-
Yeah, that doesn't date back to. Is it Dragon Ball like late '80s, early
80s.
'90s?
Yeah, 80s and 90s. Like the show's been going for
Like, that's not 30 years that you got to watch to get the story. It's you're
right.
good.
Like you can watch like 5 other animes in the amount of time it takes you to watch one.
Yeah. It's not to say that there isn't like a point to that. It's just you don't. That's a daunting task for your first.
Exactly. Well, guys, thank you for watching this episode. We will be doing many more of these episodes in the future, talking about other animes and just nerdy topics in general. So again, hit that like button and that subscribe button so you keep seeing all of our content. And take it easy. Peace.